Oh, yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast live. And thank you so much for being here because I have a special guest or two trying to get the last guy set up with the sound. Mr. CeeLo, can you hear me?
I can.
There we go. We are ready to rock and roll. And tonight, we've got a heck of a college football show for you guys. If you love Notre Dame football, get ready. This is a good one. And if you love college football, well, some of you might not like it, but some of you might. So I am here to go ahead and talk some ball. And I got joining me, of course, my main man, John Kennedy, always Irish Notre Dame football podcast. John, what's good, man?
It's good to be here. Good to be with you. It's like you plan it when you know I'm going to be in a better mood, because there's a lot of these days and shows where I'm riled up about something. Really good timing on this, Bruce. Notre Dame gets excellent portal news.
Yes.
I'm eating dinner. I get the news. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling full. 15 minutes later, I'm with you. You can't beat it.
There you go.
I'm doing better than I was a few days ago. I'll tell you that.
Relax.
I don't have that in me. You've known me enough years to know I don't have that in me.
That is correct. And joining us as well is Mr. CeeLo, host of the Talk Like a Champion Notre Dame football podcast. Mr. CeeLo, what's good? Can you hear me? Did he freeze? Looks like he froze.
Good. He's frozen in time. That's how good it is. Bruce, it was so good that he froze himself in time and space.
That's what it looks like. But Mr. CeeLo will be back, and shout out to him. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this show started. And I'm not even going to go through the spiel. I'm going to just say real quick, shout out to the channel members. Shout out to my main man, Coach T. It's not that serious. Chief Sid Bubba, appreciate you. Appreciate the boys from Annapolis. Always. Baltimore Bruce, Micah, Sneed got what you need. Nino. And of course, Steve, the king of the chat. So always wanted to show you guys love. I appreciate all that you do to support the channel. Let's get to it. John, I've been trying to get you on the show for a while now. And like you said, it's funny how things work out because, I listen to your show on the reg and I listen to you rant and rave and complain about how things are going and not going.
Never.
And I call your show and I tell you, John, relax. It's going to be okay. And you can't do it. And lo and behold, I'm right. So we've got some beautiful stuff going on, and just to give us the background, and let's see if we're there. Mr. CeeLo, can you hear me? Are you good?
I can. Thank you for having me on the show. I've listened to your show as well, Mr. Kennedy. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Good to meet you, man. Good to be here.
Yes. Hey, I appreciate you, Mr. CeeLo. So here we go. There's been a lot, as you know, if you're a Notre Dame football fan, there's been a whole lot going on since the since the end of the season. We talked ad nauseum about Notre Dame getting snubbed from the 12-team playoff. And if you're an Irish fan like we are, it hurts even more this particular season because this may have been the most talented team we've had in recent memory and a team that legitimately had an opportunity to go win it all. And unfortunately was denied the opportunity to go and compete for that. That said, Notre Dame didn't handle their business early on. So as much as they have external factors to blame, there are internal factors to blame. But we saw all that go on. Then Notre Dame was, denigrated for not, caving to the pressure and not going and playing in a garbage bowl, and then denigrated some more with the whole back to the join a conference thing, right? So we had all that going on. Then the portal opens and nothing's going on early for the Irish. And now suddenly, boom, the portal is on fire for the Irish. They, as it seems at the moment, have the best portal class in the nation, really being able to fill some major needs. So this is incredible. John, we talk all the time. I'm going to start with our new guest, Mr. CeeLo. Mr. CeeLo, what are your thoughts on all this, especially the current portal class? And we just got some great news probably less than an hour ago on that.
Well, I can honestly tell you, speaking from a Notre Dame fan, lifetime fan, around all these dang Georgia fans and whatnot, that was a definite breath of fresh air. And I believe, and hour or two ago, we heard that Francis Brew is coming over, and to me, that was the icing on the cake. You know, we needed some reinforcements on that D line, and honestly, it was so awesome that we were able to do it, even though we had a slow start, which it looked like we were going to be the laughing stock of all Power 4 teams, but we Marcus Freeman with his, I call it his due diligence and his patience, and of course that new hire for the defensive line coach, helped out a lot as well.
Yeah, him coming over from Pitt, I think, obviously, and him bringing his guy with him, that's going to mean a lot. And whether we like Pitt or not, Pitt generally has very good, very strong defensive lines, stops the run very well, gets after the passer. So this, I think, could be a very good thing, and it gives Pat Narduzzi just another reason to hate the Irish, but as if he needs a reason, right? But no, that's good stuff. And then we also heard that what's his name? I was talking to Steve about this earlier. Shout out Steve, King of the chat. 5-star wide receiver Mylan Graham from Ohio State is also expected to be joining Notre Dame in this portal class as well. So that's 2 5-star receivers from Ohio State, if you're counting. And all of a sudden, for the first time in my Notre Dame football life, there seems to be an embarrassment of riches in the wide receiver room. It's almost like I don't know what to do with it. I'll only say this, and then I'll get to you, John. I hope Mike Denbrock doesn't get too pass happy and forget the run. That is Notre Dame's DNA. I would assume that Marcus Freeman won't allow that to happen, but with CJ Carr, you got all the weapons you brought in last year. You've got portal weapons coming in this year. You've got the weapons from last year that are maturing into the guys that'll be playmakers this year. It looks amazing. John, what are your thoughts on all this, man?
Yeah, it's the first thing is Notre Dame fans needed some good news. You needed some momentum. You needed a green light to move on to next year and forget about what just happened. The snub, the bowl opt-out, fallback, everything you mentioned, add on top of it the Freeman to the NFL stuff that's still going on till this minute. All of this stuff. You needed, as a Notre Dame person, to get to that portal as the next thing to get you away from 25 into 26. We're all revved up for it. The media and the fans, you're going to go big. You got a light schedule. You got a quarterback coming back next year. Year 2 of the defense should be, an easier ease into this season with that schedule. So you get all geared up for the portal. Took them 10 days, Bruce. 10 days to sign an official portal guy. And you had people sitting there going, what is going on? Is this program serious? Are they seeing that 26 opportunity the way we are? Go all in. 10 days, Bruce. And me and my people over at Always Irish, some of them were saying, chill out, don't react till it's over to call it a failure. Other people were saying we're slacking. We didn't have weekend visitors last week. Other teams did. We're buying the 8 ball. Bruce, they came back strong. Now, everybody, listen. I love what they've done. You could not really find a better 2 receivers to add into this mix than you did. It would be hard.
Man.
You would be hard-pressed to find 2 guys to bring in a this athleticism and physical level. Taking them from Ohio State, they lost Hartline, whatever it is. But that's a big win for Notre Dame to get those 2 guys. Convince them you want to play for Carr, like with Carr. Let's go. But here's where I'm at. I like Keon Keeley, come back home, like that whole story. I love it, but he's more of an edge guy. You're going to have Bryce Young. You're going to have him. Those are some edge guys. You got Brewu that's going to be a more of an interior D-line guy. I want this Oregon guy. 6'6", 330. Try and move them, Bruce. Try and move them.
No, that's
if
what you want.
They're able to land everything we talked about. A reliable kicker that can actually make an extra point. If they add this Oregon guy, it's an A+ portal class.
Yeah.
And I'm a tough grader. You know
You
me.
are.
Nothing makes me happy. Nothing's
true.
ever good enough for me. If they add Tion Gray, 6'6", 330 to help plug up the middle and disrupt, this would be an A+ class. You got to get the kicker, too. I'm not forgetting about that kicker. Land Gray on this, that's an A+ portal class.
Yeah, no, absolutely, John. And I think you make great points there. And what I'm looking at as well is when you talk about getting that monster from Oregon on the internal D line and the interior D line, along with Brewer from Pitt, you get two guys that can legitimately push that pocket. And once you can push the pocket, that makes things so much easier for guys coming off the edge. You know, you get a guy like Keeley or a freak like Bryce Young on the other side. So you have something amazing going on there. And then this is something you and I have talked about for years, John. Suddenly, receivers see, wait a minute, Notre Dame has a quarterback that can get us the football. And all of a sudden, receivers want to come there. And so that's a beautiful thing to see. This guy, Quincy Porter, a wide receiver we just picked up in the portal a couple days ago out of Ohio State, he is 6'4" and 210. Remember, I was talking about how much I'm going to miss Malachi Fields being that dangerous go-get-it X receiver. Looks like you've got that. And he's got 4 years of eligibility. He's young, John. He's young.
That's the other thing that everybody should notice that's shifting.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame is slowly but surely realizing they have got to find a way to let some undergrad transfers in here and figure out the credits, figure out the coursework. When this portal thing first got going, we were looking at 2 or 3 grad transfer guys where the schoolwork was pretty much done and it was master level or they're all caught up, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly but surely, Pete Bavacqua or whoever that power structure is are noticing you've got to find a way here to let some younger guys in.
Mm-hmm.
And without dropping the whole academic thing, like it's a
That's
fine
what I was about
line.
to say. Is it messed up of me to say, you know, it's great to see that we're pulling these guys in, but we don't want to do it at the risk of compromising Notre Dame's relatively uncompromising academic standards.
Tough line to walk.
You don't want to do that either.
Tough line to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of it, I believe, is this administration trusts Marcus Freeman. Okay. They trust the way he operates. They trust the way he judges the people that he allows around this program. And you have a bunch of years now of the evidence that Freeman's bringing in really, really good athletes and they're really, really good people too that represent the school well and the community well. And I think they're giving him a little leeway, trusting him. And you're getting some younger guys in here figuring out a way to make the academics work. I love that. Remember, a guy like Tony Rice had to get a special exemption to be able to get into Notre Dame. And he ends up a wonderful Irish gentleman for the rest of his life. This is beautiful. I love these guys that have more than 1 year of eligibility. And that is a new feature here. Land the Oregon guy, 6'6", 330. This is an A+ class.
And I love this as well. You're bolstering that defensive back core as well. Obviously, we know we've got Leonard Moore, the best cover corner in the country. He's back for what's likely his final year in college. Obviously, you got a Don Schuler, elite safety back there. But then you bolster that by adding Colorado cornerback DJ McKinney, who allegedly was locking down Travis Hunter in practice over there. And then you got Michigan cornerback Jaden Sanders. You know, they recruit defenders as well. They send defenders to the league. So it's like all the DBs want to come play for Mike Mickens. And then all of a sudden, now you're seeing the wide receivers coming as well. I almost don't even know how to react to all of this, John. It is scary. But the thing is, you know that going forward, you're not going to be able to keep all these guys because that's just the nature of modern college football. But it's a good problem to have. I believe I heard a very smart man say that.
It's a fantastic problem to have. The reality is, Goolsby and I talked about this last night on the Patreon live show we do. There are guys leaving Notre Dame secondary and transferring somewhere else because they can't see the field. 10 or 15 years ago, they'd be starters for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Like the talent level in that room has changed so much with Mickens. There are guys that we would love to be playing for us 15 years ago. They can't even see the field. They should have the best secondary in the country next year. They should. Leonard Moore will be gone after that. So you ball out with that guy one more. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Say hello real quick.
Hey, Mr. Kennedy.
It's good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. Did you have a good Christmas?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. A happy New Year, buddy. How's school going?
It's going well.
That's fantastic, man. It's good to see you, man. I hope I get to see you at Notre Dame again soon.
hopefully.
All right, sir.
Talk your dad into a trip.
We're trying to work on it. See you later, son. Woo! Sorry about that. He wanted to say hello.
Fantastic. I love seeing him. Anyways, I don't even remember
Yes.
where I was.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Things are looking good. I think that secondary should be honestly the best in the country if with relative health. And I mean that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just saying that. I mean that. The other thing you got to learn is you got to learn how valuable Mike Mickens is, and you got to keep that man in the building. If you look at what he's doing with that, you got to keep that guy around. I don't know what you're going to need to do.
That's
you
what I was
got to
going to
keep
say.
that dude in the room.
That's what I was going to say, John, in all honesty, like how? Because remember, I'm sure he wants to be a defensive coordinator and he wants to be that soon. And I'm sure it took a lot for Coach Freeman to keep him there last year when he made the Chris Ash hire. And we know that Texas wanted to hire him away from Notre Dame. And there's some schools out there, Texas A&M and Texas Tech and some of these schools, and if they have the money and if they want to outbid you, they can do that. So I'm just like, how is Notre Dame's got money too, but I'm like, how are they going to be able to keep Mike Mickens?
Yeah, it could get tough. But if it came down the road to where you got to pick between Mickens and Ash, I'm sorry, but I have to pick the younger guy entering the prime of his career that's a recruiter and a developer and puts guys in the NFL every 2 minutes. So he's a huge asset. He's doing a great job.
Yes,
they're stacked there. It should be a really, really good secondary. And then back to the offense, Bruce. What's going to be interesting is Love and Price were a safety blanket, right? Like you knew
one of the best ones I've ever seen,
other than against Miami. You
right.
knew what you were going to get when you handed it to them. And even then, you only handed it to them about 15 times. I don't want to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of your safety blanket. You could enter every game knowing you had that is the engine. Both those guys are gone. So what's going to be interesting to see is, does this become much more of CJ Carr's offense and now finding creative ways to get all these athletes involved? Or can you rely on that running game? You're going to have a healthier offensive line. If they're healthy, I think they'll be better next year with health, which is something they have not had the last couple of years. Should be what I think is a better offensive line. I want to see what the running back dynamics like. Like does Aeneas Williams slide into that key role there? Like, I want to see what happens there because you did lose the engine of that offense. I want to see what happens.
Right. So this is very interesting, right? Obviously, we know that the run game is not going to be nearly as dominant next year. It simply can't be, right? You don't lose, the top two running backs in this draft class in the same class, and not face a drop off. It's just, unless you're Alabama back in the day, right? But it's highly unlikely that the running game will be that good. But with that said, with what appears to be an elite passing game loading, it may be, we always say run to open up the pass. Now we may see the opposite of pass to open up the run, which is something that we but I'm sure you agree, something that we as Notre Dame fans can't conceive of. I am super, super excited to see what's going to be happening. Lil Man, the OG says, the Hoosiers run Indiana now, face it. No, don't matter who you guys get. Hey, Lil Man, the OG, I totally respect that. The Hoosiers are awesome. Looks like they're going to win a championship here, but I'll just leave it here. The last time we played you guys, and that was last season, not 10 years ago, we beat y'all. So we'll see what happens next time we get an opportunity to get at you guys. But hey, look, I have no problem with the Hoosiers. I give you guys, all your love on my other shows. So go ahead, get the job done and close out Miami.
I got problems with them, but we'll get to that later.
I know you do,
later. I got problems with them. We'll get to that
yes,
later.
Sir. Yes, sir. All right, quick public service announcement, Joel. I see 143 in the chat. I so appreciate all you guys being here. Please hit that like and subscribe. Please hit the like. You have no idea how much that helps us content creators. Please hit that like button. All right.
See some familiar names in this chat.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see him, man. I appreciate him. You brought him with you, John. I appreciate all that. But yeah, so we know that we are making huge moves in the portal. Let me ask you this. You personally, John, how does it feel? Is it helping you to breathe a little easier now that you're seeing some of these big moves happening?
Yes.
I know you were pretty frustrated and concerned about it. Where are you with that now?
100% in a better place. Like a few days in, when you weren't getting weekend visitors and they were committing elsewhere, you had all these issues. People just wanted to know. It didn't make sense. You were just like, we kind of were under the assumption Notre Dame would be a heavy portal player here. Nothing's happening, or the reports we're getting are negative, or it's not working out. What the heck's going on? I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but it isn't how you start. It's how you finish in the portal. And they're doing a really good job right now. Like, I'm telling you, land a kicker. Give me this Gray guy. That's an A+ portal class.
No doubt.
Man, if you could add Keeley and then Brew and this kid on the inside and what you already have in the room. And it's like, are we overlooking the linebackers? What a good athletic group that is. But we're talking about the defensive front. We're talking about the secondary. And the linebackers are plenty good too. Should be an elite Notre Dame defense.
Oh, absolutely. I love what we're seeing. Okay, let's move a little bit away from the portal class, although that's the best news we've had in a long time at Notre Dame. But Brian Kelly, that's interesting. Okay. But
we don't need no RKGs. I need MVPs, baby.
That's right. That's right.
On him. I don't want RKGs look like John Kennedy's, and that guy had way too many of them on our sideline. I need MVPs,
right?
Not RKGs.
No doubt. So, let's flip it a little bit from discussing the portal class. By the way, guys, I know you're seeing someone popping in and out. This is our guy, Mr. CeeLo, host of the Talk Like a Champion Notre Dame football podcast. We're trying to get him in here, but he seems to be having connection issues on his end. So unfortunately, we're probably going to have to do this another time. We can't seem to get him right. All right. So, John, here's another thing that we were concerned about and may continue to be concerned about. Earlier today, we heard the news in the NFL. Mike Tomlin decided to step down as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so I'm watching SportsCenter. Former NFL quarterback Dan Orlovsky says, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first call I make is Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman. Now, I've heard you talk about this ad nauseum, right? And you're saying, one, it's a good problem to have a head coach that's so desperately wanted, and that we just have to get used to. This is the new normal at Notre Dame, that every year there will be the Marcus Freeman rumors, and the NFL and whoever else will be coming after him. So we're basically signing Marcus Freeman to 1-year deals, man. I wouldn't believe that he just signed a deal, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and that he would be interested in fielding any offers from the NFL at this point. You never know. Somebody may, just come with an offer you can't refuse. But what are your thoughts on this? Like, does it unnerve you at all that Marcus Freeman is in such great demand at this point?
I mean, this is so Notre Dame-y, Bruce. For all those years, you didn't have a coach good enough. Now you got one so good, everybody wants him.
Isn't that crazy?
Seriously, all those years where we didn't think our coach was good enough and whatever. And luckily, LSU bought a fake bill of goods on one of them to get it off our problem.
Yeah.
But for most of my life, post-Lou, you're like, we need a real coach here. Now you got one and everybody wants him. All of those big college jobs that were available throughout the year, they all reached out to Freeman. Then you had the first wave of Freeman to NFL stuff right after the season ended. And then you got the tweet, run it back for 26, go Irish, okay? Run it back 26 isn't Dan Lanning saying I'm in Oregon until I don't win enough that they don't want me here. So I don't know how many people read into that, but run it back for 26 is different than I'm here till they don't want me. But
very different. And he's a very young guy too. So that's like, if he's in his 50s and he says that, okay, that's a little more believable. Marcus Freeman is early 40s? He's a young guy.
40.
So
Yep, just turned 40.
There you go. So he could say, run it back for 26 and, something great happens, we win a chip, or something horribly frustrating happens, we get screwed again, I can't take this and I'm going to go to the league. So, yeah.
It's so I was more nervous about it in the initial wave. Then he put out the tweet. I don't think Freeman's the type of guy to tweet, "I'm coming back," and a few weeks later, he betrays that. However, who knows, man? Somebody makes you a Godfather offer. Here's the other side of it, though, Bruce. Is Pittsburgh the type of place you drop in a brand new rookie NFL head coach? I'm all for Freeman in the NFL eventually, but they're doing a pretty big rebuild teardown. And do you want your head coach to be a part of that? I'm all for it, but I don't know if he's ready for it now. And I just don't see one of those top-notch good organizations risking it on a young guy, but maybe they feel that gives them stability to be able to do it. I think we're through this year, but every single year it's going to be a thing, and you're not going to be able to avoid it. And eventually the guy is probably going to want to do something different. You need to win a championship while you have this guy.
Yes.
While recruiting is like it is, while you're doing you got to win one, and whatever happens after that is gravy. Whether Ryan Day retires and he goes home to Ohio State or he wants to go to the NFL. And the other thing is, Tomlin was young and inexperienced, but wasn't he in the league as an assistant at least before he got the head job? That's way different.
He was a positional coach, then he was a defensive coordinator with the Vikings, and he interviewed and blew him away, got the job. Even young and inexperienced, he won a championship and went to 2 Super Bowls. So it can be done.
Yeah, even that is more experienced than Freeman has in the NFL. And then somebody's talking about Notre Dame as a stepping stone job. To the NFL, it's hard to judge that. That's the pinnacle of the sport. No one could really blame a college coach for wanting to do it at the top level. That's one thing. The only college job I see Freeman leaving Notre Dame for is Ohio State. I do not see that guy going anywhere else in college unless it's Notre Dame or Ohio State.
100% agree. Obviously, being alum there, and I believe he won a championship there, and that place, holding a special place in his heart. Jim Tressel and him, I think, being a GA under him, et cetera, and then Luke Fickell. Absolutely. That would be the only place. And realistically, no matter what anyone in the chat thinks about it, Notre Dame is one of the glamour jobs, not just in college football, but in all of professional sports in this country. So that's not Bruce,
man, this job is a pain in the ass, though. This job is tough, man. There's so many flaming hoops you got to jump through at Notre Dame to get anything done compared to other. It's such a unique beast. I always say being the coach at Notre Dame ages you worse than being the president. So it will wear on you. It's a great job, but only for the right guy. It's only for the right guy, and Freeman gets that. I'm not worried about it this year. The NFL thing's going to be an every year thing. Here's my deeper question, Bruce. This is going to be a year-to-year problem. I don't care if he's on contract till 30 or 31. I don't care. There's buyouts for a reason. If 2 parties want him and he wants to do something, they can make it happen. I don't feel any good about the length of that deal. Here's my thought, though. When does this start to leak into recruiting a little bit? When do these other coaches get in? I'm pretty
sure they're already negative recruiting. Can you be sure that Coach Freeman is even going to be there? I'm sure that's happening.
Yeah. And it's the thing is, a lot of guys used to commit to Notre Dame to be at Notre Dame. Now they're committing to Notre Dame, and they really like the head coach. And it wasn't always that way. A lot of guys want to play for Marcus. And then these coaches are going to go, man, you really want to go there? And then you might have to hit the portal in a year when he goes to the NFL. Why do all that? I just wonder if any of that exists and how Notre Dame combats it. Yeah, you're damn right. We got a guy everybody wants. Don't you want to play for him? There are ways to work that, but it's going to be a narrative. And I got to learn to not let my blood pressure spike whenever a tweet comes out. I just got to do better with it.
Absolutely. Real quick, I'm going to get to you in 1 second, Mr. CeeLo. I just want to respond to Bruce in the chat. What up, Baltimore, Bruce? Bruce says Marcus Freeman wouldn't last in the SEC, the big dogs of college football. Bruce, hold on. I got you, Mr. CeeLo. Bruce, hold what you got. We're getting to that. Don't worry about it. I got something for you. All right, Mr. CeeLo, looks like we finally got you in and we got you set up, man. I know you've been listening while you've been trying to work through your technical issues, man. What are your thoughts on the portal, the great news we've been hearing from the portal, getting a bunch of guys in this class, and as well, you know, the Marcus Freeman stuff John and I were just talking about?
Well, listen to what John said. It's also, you know, very important that we realize that these guys that we're bringing in are to add collectively to what we already have. Needless to say, we didn't have a whole lot of needs. And I think that was what I had to say to myself and a lot of the fans that were around here. We just needed a few pieces to kind of just tie everything together, like a couple of experienced guys on that defensive front. And we needed a boundary receiver. Me and you talked about that, Bruce.
Yes,
I
sir.
think when we landed on Porter, you know, because I wanted Nick Marsh.
Yeah,
I mean,
think everyone did.
That broke my heart. That
Sure.
destroyed me when I heard that Indiana had won him, and I was kind of in the dumps. I'm not going to kid you, but ultimately, when we got Porter, I was like, that was a touchdown right there.
6'4", 210. That's a big body receiver.
Absolutely, and
yeah.
I heard you guys talking about finally throwing the football, and that's always been my issue with Notre Dame. You know, we've been a consistent running football team dating all the way back to the Holtz era. Now, we did throw it a little bit during Charlie Weiss's era.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, it's really hard to try to convince really talented wide receivers to pick Notre Dame over Ohio State.
Right.
And even Indiana's, you got to throw them in there now, and the Texas Longhorns with the Sarkisian here. But for us to land this caliber of receiver and get them away from Ohio State, I think not only coupled with the fact that we're taking players out of the SEC and taking wide receivers from Ohio State, that speaks volumes.
Yes, absolutely.
And as far as Marcus Freeman goes, I think John hit the nail on the head. He tore it up. When you got arguably, I'm going to go ahead and toot his horn. Marcus Freeman is the number one guy in college football without winning a ring, because kids just want to play for him. He has that endearment. Hey, you even got folks in the SEC that talk good about Marcus Freeman. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. You know, despite the fact that you'll have people say silly things like Marcus Freeman couldn't make it in the SEC, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, people like to just say things to say it. But regardless of that, we've seen what Marcus Freeman has
disingenuous, Bruce. It
really
so
is
disingenuous. It's all the LSU people were telling me they were glad they got Brian Kelly. They dumped him, and then the LSU people are saying number one call Marcus Freeman. You don't get to do it both ways.
Of course they do.
Lane. They were all trolling me. We got Kelly. Wait and see what he's going to do. They realized what we knew all along. The next call they made was to Marcus's agent. Pick a lane and stick to it.
Well, John, here's the thing. What I love about what you just said, what was crazy is Brian Kelly consistently said he couldn't win with certain things here in South Bend. And what is so awesome about Marcus Freeman, he's been able to transcend that and take us to the place that we hope Charlie Weiss would be able to. Heck, even dating back to Tyrone Willingham, he's gotten us to a place where there's not only hope, but we're back in the forefront again. People not only want to watch this brand, but they want to know about this brand.
Yeah, no, there's real proof of concept.
Bruce, the recruiting. Brian Kelly was saying we got to shop down a different aisle, lowering the bar of expectations. Okay, he's the one who told you I'm shopping down a different aisle. Not, I refuse to fire up the jet and go get a quarterback from the West Coast. All right? So everything he said you couldn't do in a few years, we're kind of doing it. And Freeman has a lot to do with that. Bavakwa is a modern AD. He has a lot to do with it. But it's you got to win while you got Freeman, because nothing lasts forever. And that guy at some point is going to want a change of life flow. You got to win while you got that guy, and anything else is gravy. That's how I look at it year to year. You got a really good runway into next year's schedule. Ooh, you don't have those first two games where there's no margin of error. You're going to be able to work on things. This team should be cooking by November when their big games happen.
Yep, absolutely. No, I think that I'm a lot less concerned today than I was a week ago. It's looking really good because like you know about me, John, I'm very old school in my football mentality. Run the ball, stop the run. You know, I've said it a million times on this show, on your show, every show I go, I would run the ball, stop the run. I believe in that. But you are really seeing, and this is what you've begged for years, John, since I've known you, you're finally seeing Notre Dame, while not compromising the aspect of physicality, controlling the trenches, running the ball, you're starting to see that movement into what you call modern college football, being able to pass it explosively with the best of them. And this is scary. This is scary.
Yeah, it's a new dynamic, Bruce. And think about this. It's about talent. It's about talent.
Mm-hmm.
Not that long ago, we would make it in the biggest games of the year or a playoff moment. And you would enter it going, man, we can win it if we play perfect and the other team makes 5 big mistakes and we take advantage of all of them. We didn't have the dudes to match up. You could see it. We just couldn't match up with the athletes. Those days are over.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame can win any game against anybody. It's up to how they play.
They can't beat themselves. Absolutely.
It's a different world now. Notre Dame doesn't get out-athleted in these big moments the way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to win this thing while you got Freeman, man.
That's right. And we will definitely very shortly here talk about how the athletes have somehow just miraculously spread out around the rest of college football. But, you know, we'll get to that. And there's going to be some people in here that's going to be real upset, you know, people who have a lot to say about the mighty, mighty SEC. But we'll get there. But, John, I am going to let you go at this point, man. I really appreciate you being here. I know you got stuff to do. Thanks so much for, you know, sharing your thoughts. And as always, man, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me Always Irish on YouTube, Patreon, behind the paywall there. Mike Goolsby, we got some source stuff going on back there behind the scenes. Sports Illustrated, just Google Sports Illustrated, John Kennedy, Notre Dame. It'll come up. Read, got articles for you every day. If you don't want to see my face, do audio only on anything you want. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to see it either to start the new year. Bruce, before I leave,
yes,
I got to give a 1-minute take on this playoff situation real quick. Man. It's a lose-lose for me. I told you this. This is a lose-lose. I got Indiana and Miami.
Yes, you mentioned that.
It's a lose-lose. It's a matter of what pain do I want to feel? Is it decades of Notre Dame and Miami and all the BS drama this year? Or is it Indiana having a Heisman and a title we've been chasing since 87 and 88? They just decided to care 2 years ago and they're going to get it all. I'll never sleep again. I'll never be able to sleep again. They're going to be able to say they own the state of Indiana. Maybe not in John's Frank Leahy history book, but now. And I don't like that. Imagine what needs to go wrong in the world that I might think and want Miami to win the championship. That's how dire this is. That's how dire this is.
No. John, we've had this discussion, and I'm going to keep it simple because we'll talk about this some more in a minute when you're gone. Listen, I understand completely where you're coming from, and it makes sense, but I'm all for Indiana winning this thing Monday night.
Yeah, and you were the
Southern team winning the championship.
You were the same guy going, I'm all for Michigan, John. Why are we even friends?
John, as long as it's not an SEC team or a team from the South, I'm good with it. As long as you're a Northern team, I'm okay with it.
The problem with me is I'll find a reason to hate everyone. Like I can't even narrow it down. I'll find a way to hate everybody somehow. I don't want it to be an SEC team. I don't want it to be Indiana. I don't want it to be Miami. I definitely can't be Ohio State again. I don't want it to be anybody. Shut it all down. If we're not in it, shut it down.
There you go.
Oh, God. Bruce, this was so much fun, man. Thanks for having me. Thank you for jumping on the morning show. People love having you first thing in the morning. You got that voice on their morning drive. People like easing into their day. I don't offer that. You balance it out. CeeLo, good to meet you, brother, man. Hey, thanks for being here, you guys, or inviting me, rather. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Have a good one, John.
See you guys. I'll watch the rest. Take care.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. CeeLo. So, you ready to get to the main event, man?
Let's do it.
All right. So, let me change the overlay real quick. All right, let's get to it. So, as you see from the thumbnail, the SEC, Southeastern Conference, won a lot of championships lately. At one point, 14 of 17, won a lot of championships, right? Dominant conference in college football, and it just means more. And they only play good football in the South, and the boys up north can't play ball, this, that, and the third. Gotcha. Okay. That's what they told us, right? I live down here in the South, so I'm not just making this stuff up. I know what it's about. I served in the Army. A lot of guys from the South in the Army. I had to hear this for many years. So I'm not just making this stuff up. Cool. Now, this is where we're going to have some fun, and we are going to drop some knowledge on y'all. Not just from us, the Notre Dame fans, who you're going to say they just jealous, they just some haters, they hate on this. Okay, cool. No. And we're going to hear from some people who represent the South, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, okay? It is irrefutable fact, Mr. CeeLo, that the Southeastern Conference, in terms of winning championships, has been the dominant conference for the first 22 years of this century, right? In college football.
Stretching it.
Well, I mean, they win 55 different schools in the conference won championships. Now, we know Bama carried that. Bama won 6 of them, but 5 different schools in the conference won championships over the course of that time, right? So I think it's fair to say that by that measurement, which realistically in sports is the ultimate measurement, right? Winning, that they were the dominant conference. But now we start looking at nuance. Why were they the dominant conference? What's that about? What's going on there? Now, we see that over the last few years, the SEC's dominance has cratered off. Would you care to give me your thoughts on why or how that might have been, and then we can start getting into some evidence for things and hearing what some people have to say?
Well, I can give you the first thing we can say. Let's date back to a few years before NIL became the deal. If you recall, most of the people that were in objection to the NIL, where were they primarily located?
In the South.
In the Southeast. Well, that's not to say that that's the case, but my daddy always taught me a hit dog will holler.
Yeah, I love that saying.
You take the NIL for what it is, and then when you start allowing it across the board, not per se saying that someone else wasn't doing that at first.
That's right.
But what you end up looking at as, everybody's doing it. Why is it we're not able to stack the deck like we were able to do for so many years? We got second and thirds where these guys can get an injury and boom, I got a guy in here that's just as good as the opposing team's first team guy.
That's right.
Okay. Then you throw in the aspect of the 12-team playoff. Okay. If we look at a lot of the championships that the SEC won, they were during the BCS.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And many folk that are SEC non-biased, we look at it from a sense that you're basically taking a panel of people. They're selecting the 2 best teams in their eyes. Now, let's look at the 12-team playoff from this point. Indiana will be the first team. Now, granted, it's only in its second year. This will be the first team that is even in the top 4 that's going to make the national championship game. So, in this sense, if you think about it, I remember hearing a lot of SEC, Paul Weinbaum said it himself. He said, I don't think there's 8 teams in the country that can win the national championship. That's irrefutable. He said that. And then many echoed his response on ESPN that there's no way that there are 8 teams that can compete for a national championship. Indiana is going to be the first team in that top 4 that has ever represented in this 12-team playoff. So coupled with the NIL and the expansion of the college football playoff, I think a lot of people would kind of see where this is coming from. You only ask the SEC to win one game for the better part of 12, 15 years. All you got to do is show up one day. And I'm not saying that's the easiest thing to do, but in here, it's a level of attrition that you have to go through.
That's right. You got to win the tournament. Absolutely. No, great points, Mr. CeeLo. I think the biggest one, there's two things that are huge, right? Obviously, the number one is the money. We know that. The SEC has been paying for years. People who played in the SEC, people who played in college football, everybody knew it. The media knew it, but they still pushed this fake narrative that the ball was just better down there. But all of a sudden, now that everyone can pay, like we saw multiple people in the chat say, the talent is suddenly spread out, NIL and transfer portal, and the SEC is no longer dominating, right? I was listening to, I think it was Colin Cowherd's show the other day, and they were saying how one unnamed SEC assistant was saying, every coach in the conference knows it's over. They know that SEC reign of terror is over. Trackside says Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn would beat most northern teams any given day. That's what he says. But you know what, Mr. CeeLo? You know what? I mean, I guess so. They're forged in the fire of the SEC, right? Chief Sid Bubba says the SEC teams eat at each other. And you know what, Mr. CeeLo? I guess they're right, because it's such a brutal scheduling gauntlet in the SEC. And, you know, I want to share, now that we can getting the ball rolling on this whole SEC thing, I want to share some things with you, right? And the people that are listening, since we want to talk about the brutal scheduling gauntlet of the Southeastern Conference. Now, in 2025, I want to tell you about the non-conference scheduling of the mighty Southeastern Conference. By the way, if you go back and look, how often, if ever, did we see the SEC play north of Missouri? I'll wait. How often, if ever, did we see the SEC play west of Missouri? I'll wait. Almost never, right? So one, you manipulate the environment. Two, even if you did play outside of those friendly confines, which again was almost never, you never did it after mid-September. So you manipulate the environment, you manipulate the weather. That's manipulating. You manipulate the rosters because we know you paid, and we'll get the evidence for that very shortly. But let's get back to that gauntlet of the SEC. 2025. Let's listen to some of mighty Alabama Crimson Tide's non-conference opponents, shall we? Florida State, trash. Louisiana Monroe, trash. That must have been a battle, huh? Wisconsin. Now, mind you, Mr. CeeLo, when we as Notre Dame fans bring up the fact that Notre Dame opens up next year at Soldier Field against Wisconsin, the SEC people tell us Wisconsin is trash. But yet Alabama scheduled them and played them this year. But that's the gauntlet of the SEC. Okay, let's keep going. Eastern Illinois, trash. Okay, let's go to Arkansas. Alabama A&M, really? Arkansas State, really? Memphis, so-so. Notre Dame beat them so bad we got their coach fired, right? Hung half 100 on them, in the immortal words of the old Barry Switzer. Let's go to Auburn, Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama, Mercer. Oh boy, what a nightmare schedule here, huh? Let's go to Florida, LIU, South Florida, Miami, who's going to play for the national championship, so shout out to them, and Florida State, Georgia, Marshall, Austin Peay, Charlotte, Georgia Tech. What is this gauntlet we're talking about? Kentucky, Toledo, Eastern Michigan, Tennessee Tech, Louisville, LSU, Clemson, Louisiana Tech, Southeast Louisiana, Western Kentucky. Are y'all starting to get it now? Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Arizona State, Alcorn State, Northern Illinois, Missouri, Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana Lafayette, UMass, Oklahoma, Illinois State. They did play Michigan. They beat them. Okay. Temple, Kent State, Ole Miss, Georgia State, Tulane, Wazoo, Citadel. I mean, do I need to keep going here? Can we stop with the narrative? Can we stop it? Now, are there some really good games in conference? Yes, but you'll hear when we start listening to some of these sound bites how they manipulate that. But I'll give you a preview. And this is something I've said for years, Mr. CeeLo. Give me your thoughts on this. The SEC has done a fantastic job over the years of making sure that these teams are ranked, because you know they're in bed with the committee and the rankings and ESPN and all that, making sure that the teams are ranked. They're all ranked. They get a bunch of them ranked in the preseason in the top 25. Normally you'll see like 12 SEC teams ranked in there. Why do they do that, Mr. CeeLo? So that when they play each other, they get credit for ranked wins, and whoever loses doesn't get hurt too badly by ranked losses. Where are you on that? I've said that for years.
Well, needless to say, if we look at it, you can look at the start of the preseason polls. You look at South Carolina being ranked in the top 15. LSU was ranked up there as well. I mean, you could go down the list of the teams that totally just fell out. You know, if we took the preseason poll, if you will, and based it upon, see, they say they used the strength of schedule from the previous season to illustrate what we got. But when you overinflate a bunch of teams, and that's what it is, overinflation. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think Vanderbilt was a pretty decent team? Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same token, when you put a South Carolina team that, quite frankly, showed up when it wanted to, mm-hmm. and then you take an Arkansas team that we just absolutely beat down, beat back up, and beat back down, mm-hmm. and then half of the entire conference mm-hmm. struggled to put this team away. But That's then right. You get Paul Feinbaum that sits there and says it's a nobody team, but yet almost every game in conference was a competitive game. We got that coach fired. We beat them so daggone bad, our fans had stuck around the rest of the game.
And you know what's crazy about that, Mr. CeeLo, is that these are the same people who love to tell me things like, well, the worst team in the SEC would win any other conference. Really? Really? That's what we're saying? These are, for instance, you brought up Vanderbilt, and I got no issue with Vanderbilt. They're a real school with real academic standards. Clark Lee is a former Notre Dame defensive coordinator, a Vanderbilt alum, building it the right way. I got no problem with them. However, you're still going to tell me about the SEC gauntlet when in their non-conference schedule, look who they played: Charleston Southern, Virginia Tech, Georgia State, and Utah State. Come on, man. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. The lies got to stop. And that's why there's people like you and me here that come out here and we tell the truth. Oh, but there's way more. So get ready. So the biggest thing was obviously for the third straight season, the SEC will not play for a national championship. And they obviously won't win one, and they won't even play in the final game, which was awesome. They were so desperate. And by the way, do you notice that the powers that be, the committee, made sure to get an SEC team through to the semifinal? You notice how they did that?
I did. Mm-hmm. And what was ironic about it, my brother and I, who we discuss this all the time because we have to go to a job, we have to hear all this jabber about the SEC. What was ironic is back in the days when you had maybe 1, 2, 3 powerhouses in the Southeastern Conference that they just knew they could run rush shot through everybody else. They made sure to put those guys up against whoever was on the other side if they weren't in the conference. This year, they were so desperate, they set that bracket system up where they at least had somebody in the semifinals, which kind of backfired on them if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at it, I would say, do I think Ole Miss was a better team than Georgia? This is where I think Marcus Freeman is better than Kirby Smart. Because this is the second year in a row we've seen him get out-coached and out-foxed. So, in a sense, when you look at how Greg Sankey, I don't care what anybody says, he's the committee chair. He's undercover running this whole thing.
Oh, that's a fact.
You know, because anybody can sit there and say 5 SEC schools.
Yeah.
And you got one of them that got boat raced twice during the regular season. And just because they're in the conference championship, look, it's not everybody else's fault that the second best team in your conference happened to get boat raced twice, won by a really bad football team.
That's right. That's right. And on top of that, when you look at it, and we talked about, people want to, again, push this false narrative, right? The people who want to have, stuff to say about Notre Dame. Oh, y'all just mad because Miami. No, we understand we didn't get the job done with Miami. So no problem with them doing what they're doing. They are playing football the right way. Coach Cristobal built it the right way. They're showing physicality, toughness. They're playing defense. They're running the ball. Shout outs to them, as much as I hate saying it as an Irish fan. But they're doing it the right way. right? So our problem is not with Miami because we know we didn't get the job done. The problem is, I've said this before, with Alabama, because we all know Alabama should never have been in there. They're the only 3-loss team to ever make a college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
They are the only team to ever lose a conference championship game and not move up or down in the rankings. Obviously, they wouldn't move up, but not move at all in the rankings. But guess what? They had to ensure that they got as many SEC teams in as possible, and they knew that Greg Sankey would blow a gasket if the SEC teams got in and they didn't have their standard bearer, Alabama. And look what it got. They beat a so-so Oklahoma team and then got monkey stomped by a team from up north in Indiana. Yet we still have people in the chat talking about Alabama, the big dogs. And I know they're just saying it to try and push my buttons, but that's okay. That's okay, because now we're going to get to some real SEC voices who are going to be telling the truth. And we're going to start here. Before we even do that, we're going to start here with a clip from a podcast by Bruce Feldman, one of the top college football writers from The Athletic. And he's going to have some interesting things to say. So let's go ahead and get to that. And you know how we do. This is about, I think, a 3.5-4 minute clip. If I need to, we'll stop and we'll make commentary on what's going on. So let's go here. Trackside 25. Okay, Notre Dame didn't have any ratings. Quick question before I get to this clip. If Notre Dame didn't have any ratings, why do all these conferences want Notre Dame to join so badly? Let me answer that question for you. One, because Notre Dame is one of the most watched television, one of the most watched football programs on television. That's one. Two, Notre Dame is one of the most attended live programs in America. That's it right there, right? Most games, Notre Dame is their biggest of the year when they come on a road game. You can look that up. That's not my assumption. That's real deal. So we got to stop this disingenuousness like, oh, Notre Dame doesn't matter. Yeah, they weren't in the playoffs this year. Okay. They got screwed. Okay. They also didn't handle their business early in the season. Okay. All those things are true. But to sit here and try to act like Notre Dame is not the big draw that they are, disingenuous. But let's go ahead and listen to some commentary from Bruce Feldman, and then we're really going to start digging, y'all. Let's go.
I want to start, though, with a story you did, Bruce, coming out of the weekends. The SEC is now, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, 2-7 in the CFP and in bowl games when they're not playing each other.
So real quick, this is prior to the semifinal. So mind you, 2-7 in the bowl games and when they're not playing each other. So what does that say? They can't beat anyone when they're not playing each other. But let's carry on.
It's by far the worst performance they've had that I can remember. And, I think a confirmation of what many of us have suspected, that this is just not the same conference it once was. You have a quote, an anonymous quote in this story from a coach that says, there needs to be an evaluation of this narrative of the SEC as these big, bad MFers, because they're getting their asses whipped in these games. Explain.
So I was talking to a coach a couple of days ago, and it wasn't about this, but it was about a few other things. And then it got to that. And I got off the phone with him and talked to my editor, Jill, at The Athletic, and said, I think there's a story I should be pursuing here, just to see if this is something a bunch of coaches are noticing too. And obviously, I was just at the Rose Bowl where we saw the bluest of blue bloods when it comes to the SEC, Alabama, just get absolutely brutalized by Indiana. And so, kind of looking at that, it wasn't just a bowl record. It's you go back, last year's playoff wasn't great for the SEC either. You had Notre Dame beat Georgia by whatever it was, 13 points. You had a couple other games that didn't go their way. And so when you looked back, even I think the numbers I saw from just, if you want to take the bowls out of it for this year and just say, you know what, it's really just exhibitions. Because I later talked to a coach who used to be in the SEC who was like, I would throw the bowls out of it because they're exhibitions. But in the playoff in the last 3 years, SEC teams, if you're going to include Texas in there, when they made the playoff a couple of years ago, they would be 3-7 in games where it's against other conference teams. And I think 4 or 5 of those games have been by double digits. And so, you work off that premise and like, okay, the obvious thing is what a lot of people are saying inside the sport that we talked to was, now it's legal. And the understanding as well, now that there's a lot of stuff that's going on where you're paying players legally, it has become open season on the sport. And all of a sudden now the SEC's advantage that it used to have, it does not have anymore. Because you're seeing, look, we just saw Texas Tech, make the playoff. Texas Tech made it because they have a huge budget to bring in transfers and to pay players. And so that's kind of where I went. I talked to Brett Bielema, who was on the record for this, who obviously used to coach at Arkansas in the SEC, knows that SEC world well. As he told me, I'm at Illinois now. We've never beaten an SEC school before. Now we beat beaten SEC programs in each of the last 2 years. We just beat Alabama to flip a running back on signing day. That stuff never would have happened. And now that stuff is happening. So, and there was other voices in this. Cole Kubelik, who's a former Auburn offensive lineman who does a terrific job as an analyst for SEC Network, was like, he explained his thoughts on it, but it was like, no, I don't think this is a one-off either. And I think that's what you're hearing from a lot of folks, Ralph.
You had a quote from a former SEC assistant in there who hit a couple of things that are interesting. And I tend to agree with this idea that, like, I don't know what the bowls, non-playoff bowls, really mean these days. So I always felt like the bowl results got overrated a little bit, even when everybody was coming to them with full teams. And now that they're not, it's hard to know exactly how to place the relevance of these bowls. I will say, though, this is what it always comes back to with the SEC. You can't have your chest out here telling you how good we are and then take these L's and then come back around. Well, it goes back to what we had talked about like years ago. It was every time the SEC lost a game, they weren't really motivated to play it, right? Saban even acknowledged that one year and sort of said, well, when we're not in for a championship, it's hard to get players focused or blah, 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 blah. So this is another step in that evolution of that excuse, which is, well, we didn't have our players. But again, you can't be the league that says we should be treated differently. What was it? Like Sankey said, one of these things is not like the other. We should be treated differently. We should get the benefit of the doubt all the time. And then also get your ass kicked by Virginia and Houston and Illinois, right? The other thing I thought that was fascinating with that one coach's quote was, this is almost an SEC on SEC crime, though. The flattening of the SEC, bringing down the level of play of the top teams, is in many ways because all the SEC teams are now invested, right? So it's spreading out the talent among the SEC schools. So when Vanderbilt and Missouri and Ole Miss rise up, the schools that they are hurting most is not Ohio State and Indiana. The schools that they're hurting most is Alabama, LSU, Georgia to a certain extent, Stu.
Yeah. So first, I want to just acknowledge that I myself was slow to fully appreciate how much it slipped. When people would say, when people would say this year, it's just not as good as it used to be, or that it's not the best. The thing I would always object to when people say it's not the best conference anymore. I would say, well, it's not what the SEC was in 2011. But are you telling me the Big Ten as a whole is better? And I would say now, yeah, I think the Big Ten as a whole is better.
All right. So those were a bunch of college football writers from The Athletic. Really great stuff if you're into reading long form articles. So I think that was Ralph Russo, Stu Mandel, and Bruce Feldman. Really good stuff there. And you can find the entire interview on YouTube there where they were talking about it. But that's the first we kind of got into. Now, mind you, they were quoting guys from inside the SEC, anonymous sources from inside the conference who are now telling the truth about what's going on. Mr. CeeLo, thoughts on what you just heard?
Doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, when you look at how, I'll give you a perfect example. I live in the state of Georgia, and I have to know Georgia inside out because I have to be able to combat Georgia Bulldogs fans. We can just look at the talent pool in the running room. This is probably the second or third or fourth year in a row that Notre Dame has had a more dynamic running back room than the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, maybe it could be because Georgia is trying to evolve into a passing attack.
Mm-hmm.
That could be an excuse, but I don't see it because their passing attack has not been very good. Their offensive line. But when you look at exactly what the evidence that's being presented and then looking at the results, the depth is not there.
That's right.
And then you have to also take into account, why is that? Because all I used to hear was the prestige of the Georgias, the Nick Saban at Alabama, and the Floridas when they were in their heyday. But when you hear this kind of stuff, it basically affirms what I couldn't necessarily prove years ago because I didn't have the access.
Right.
But now you're starting to see that that talent's not just leveling off to the Southeastern Conference. Let's not get it twisted because there's good football played in the ACC.
That's right.
Georgia Tech looked pretty darn impressive this year as well. I love Haynes' team.
Yeah.
The Big 12 had a couple of good teams. Matter of fact, we had a hometown boy, Romello Heights, from my hometown. So you got this dynamic with the NIL, and then not to mention the way the 12-team playoff is laid out, and it's possibly going to go to 16. So with this whole SEC is the big bad boogeyman, it's a great narrative to get people to watch more college football if the SEC has the guts to go outside of its comfort zone and not play your powerhouse schools on a neutral field. Go up to the Horseshoe. I'll give Georgia props for coming to South Bend in 2017, but you won't come back.
Right. They barely got out of there with that one.
They did.
Yeah. But you know what? Shout out, Texas is coming up to South Bend in the next few years.
That's where Auburn
Alabama's
is
coming up to South Bend in the next few years. they'll be doing it in September, not November, but it is what it is. But let's also look at some quotes that we've got from some big name SEC voices here. Here's one. There's no way to defend the SEC. It's been terrible. Paul Feinbaum said on ESPN's First Take on Tuesday. That was last Tuesday, by the way. So interesting. One of the biggest SEC homers says it's been terrible. Okay. All right. But I'm just a hater, right? So let's try this one. Steve Spurrier, the old ball coach, Heisman Trophy winner at Florida, national champion at Florida, former head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, right? Steve Spurrier says we got slapped in the face during bowl season. What? The old ball coach said that? No. So he's hating too. He's just a hater, Mr. CeeLo. He's a hater. Let's try something else. Okay. Let's do this. There's no getting around the bowl results. One conference source said, noting that SEC teams lost games they were favored to win. As elite teams faltered in the college football playoff, the SEC's argument has been that it was still a deeper conference. Missouri losing to Virginia, Tennessee losing to Illinois, Vanderbilt losing to Iowa. Not good. Interesting. So, I'm just trying to figure out how all this stuff matches up with the lies that we keep hearing. I'm trying to figure out how all this stuff matches up with the stuff that people tell us. People like Baltimore Bruce, who always have stuff to say. You know what's interesting? Baltimore Bruce, Notre Dame's schedule for next year is soft. We don't have any FCS teams on our schedule. I know that for a fact. You can't say that, but you tried though. But it's all good though, because guess what? We've got more. So as you know, First Take has a round robin of hosts who come on, right? ESPN, who we know is in bed with the SEC. And some of their guys who discuss college football are Paul Feinbaum, right? Mouth of the South. Ryan Clark, former LSU Tiger, go Tigers. Me and my family. But anyway, and Cam Newton, former Heisman Trophy winner and national champion at Auburn University and one of the best college quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to Cam Newton. However, let's hear what those guys had to say when discussing the drop-off of the SEC. I want to hear what they had to. Would you like to hear what they had to say, Mr. CeeLo?
Please.
Okay, let's rock and roll. You know how we do. We can stop and comment, man, and let's get it.
It doesn't sting, but I believe in accountability, all right? And I think that the SEC is still at a rate of not being in a situation that other conferences are in. All right, get to your point. Well, the conference scheduling, non-conference competition is still the glaring obvious that other conferences get to bypass. Look at Ohio State. Ohio State gets to play Iowa State, or they get to play Michigan State. They get to play these off-brand teams.
So he's talking about the non-conference schedule again, right? He just brought that up, not me, right? Okay, so let me just start hating again. So Auburn played Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama, and Mercer in the non-conference. What is he talking about? See, this is why they can't have people like you and me on these shows, because they would never invite us back, because we would dismantle the lies right there on set. Because I would pull this out real quick. What are you talking about, Cam? What are you talking about? What are we doing? Tennessee played Syracuse, East Tennessee State, UAB, and New Mexico State. What are we talking about? Come on, don't do this. See, I'm that guy. And I'm very obnoxious when I'm right about things, so they don't want me around. But let's go on.
And it goes as a tab of a win. Well, you still got a Georgia that still has to play at LSU. They still have to play a Florida. They still have to play these very competitive conference games. Now, my challenge to the other conference, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, hey, let's do a joint kind of year-end annual competition that sees more competition in other type of conferences. Yeah.
Why is he saying that? Is he saying, more interconference games? Because we're seeing now that the money is spread out, the SEC's not doing too well. He doesn't want that smoke for the conference he loves so much. I don't know why he would be suggesting something like that.
Basically what he's suggesting is that other schools other schools be more competitive on the outer half so that we can have worse records. He does not want that smoke, like you said, because if you look at the bowl season in itself, Cam don't know half the stuff he's talking. Sometimes he talks out of the other end. He's trying so hard to be the new Paul Weinbaum, and it's not working. But the real reality of it is, he said LSU. Did he really just say LSU after the season they had? I mean, I talked about this on my show. I mean, when you think about the way the Big Ten probably was the one conference that was not equal up top to bottom. You can say that. But when you have two teams like Ohio State and you have Indiana, and then of course you can throw Oregon in there, but then you also got to look at the ACC. And I've still got a little haterade for Miami. Sorry, Hurricanes. But the Hurricanes, record-wise, were the third best team in their conference. You know, that's not what I said. That's what it said. Now, we can blame the ACC and all of this and that. But when you look at the Southeastern Conference as a whole, you got to stop defending what it is. Look, the bad guy story is over. The boogeyman of the SEC, it's walked off into the sunset. That doesn't exist anymore. Nobody's scared of you.
Facts. Let's continue with First Take, because this gets better.
Am I biased? Absolutely. But when you start to see these bids in the college football playoffs because of the better records, they're not playing the competition on a regularity like the SEC is.
Come on now, Auburn played Mercer and Ball State this year.
Yeah, but Auburn also played South Carolina. They also played at Texas.
Not very good
So
this year.
here's what I'm going to say. SEC has this motto, it's just different. They should change it.
Just means more.
To we ain't different no more.
So this is Ryan Clark talking, and he's about to tell some truth. And let me also point this out, right? Remember, Ryan Clark, and he'll admit he used to be one of the biggest SEC homers. He played at LSU. Mr. CeeLo, would you have any idea why all of a sudden Ryan Clark has come to this realization and is telling more truth about the SEC? What could possibly have led to him being more objective in his college football coverage?
I'm glad you asked me that.
Tell me,
Maybe
Mr.
it's
CeeLo.
because his son attended Notre Dame and he got an up close and personal view, not only at the practices, but at the culture that people like Cam Newton and Paul Weinbaum totally overlook as a whole. Not just what Marcus Freeman brings to the table, but what the fan base brings and what the whole brand means.
Yeah, he was right there with the bird's eye view in the catbird seat, watching as Notre Dame made that run, unprecedented run to the national championship game last year. Came up short, no excuses for that. But all of a sudden, now he's got God, and he's telling the truth about what's going on in college football. But we'll continue.
That's what they should change it to.
blasphemous, bro.
Listen, I went to LSU. I was one of those people that was always like, nah, it's about the attrition. It's about the fact that you got South Carolina and then Georgia, and then you got to go play Kentucky, and then you got to play Florida. I was that guy. That's me. I used to get up here and act like Paul Feinbaum with a fresh edge up. That was me. You can't be that no more. Because still, as we're talking about it, guess what? Bama was still there. Oklahoma was still there. Ole Miss was still there. Georgia was still there. It wasn't like they looked at their schedule and don't put them in. It's 18 million of us ranked in the top 25 at the beginning of the season. So we get the benefit of the doubt. And then we waltz into the college football playoffs, and most of our wins against each other. Alabama got to win who they beat, Oklahoma. Ole Miss got 2 wins who they beat, Georgia. So when you look at the SEC, what Josh is saying is the truth. We used to win because of depth. Think about what Miami did last night, losing players because of targeting, both of your corners down, bringing in freshmen that come out and make plays. That used to be us. It's not that they're taking the players. It's that they are adjusting to what the new era of football is better than we are, because we used to get them all because everybody wanted to play there and everybody was willing to wait, and everybody knew if they played there and you played 1 year for Alabama and you was an All-American, you'd be top 10. Now you can go top 10 from anywhere, and you can win a championship anywhere. We ain't the same no more, and you got to stop sitting up here hanging out with Paul Feinbaum.
Now, it's amazing to me because you have the point that, nah, Bruce, you don't get to say Ryan is always wrong. You always caping for Brian Clark. No. I'm not going to get into it, but you and me, we went at it over Ryan Clark. You don't get to say he's always wrong now. Don't even try it. But with that said, I find it so interesting that Ryan Clark would sit there and make the comments he just made, knowing that his employer, ESPN, is literally in bed with the committee, literally in bed with the SEC. But he found it was too absurd for him not to tell the truth. It's crazy. Your thoughts on what Ryan Clark had to say there? I thought it was very refreshing.
It was very refreshing, but unfortunately, it's just like when a comic gets up on stage and spits truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to laugh at it for 5 minutes and then totally forget the message that he brought, which was facts, but he told it in a funny way. Or are you going to walk out that door and are you going to carry this and really, really let it marinate within you? And that's the problem. But the Southeastern Conference is not going to let that marinate, because guess what? They went, and I remember this when I was in high school, because this was right there at its infancy before the SEC got all of its notoriety. Because before, if you think back to that Ronnie Brown and that Cadillac Williams Auburn team,
remember that
they were very good. Now, I will admit they were very good then. It was very difficult to win the Southeastern Conference and get a BCS bid. Right. Those days are gone. And realistically, what Ryan Clark said is definitely true. You can't sit here and play yourself as the big brother that's knocking people around when you're the one that's getting knocked around. And that's really what Ryan is trying to, say. Ryan Bum is walking back his words slowly because, he's got to keep his credibility for his fan base.
Right.
Cam, on the other hand, he's too proud to admit it. He's not going to be able to admit it. You're going to continuously hear him. I mean, if Miami wins, he's going to find some way. Or even if Indiana wins, he's going to find some way to drag the SEC into it. They'll be back. They'll this and that. You watch what I tell you, Bruce. He's going to find some way to bring the SEC back into that conversation. Definitely. But I am grateful that Ryan had the nerve to do that on that telecast, because needless to say, Shea seems to be the only one on there that has any kind of, I don't want to say common sense, but a lack of, bias. You want when you have a take, you need to try your best not to be biased. And Cam Newton unequivocally is incapable of that. Paul Weinbaum is just walking his words back. He gets on his radio show and he
knows what it is.
Yes.
But he also knows he has a fan base to cater to, and he can't go in there and talk too much truth, or he's going to be in big trouble.
Absolutely.
Right. All right, I got another clip here. I got a couple more, but I got a shorter one from Ed Orgeron, coach of the record-setting and outstanding, super talent-loaded 2019 LSU Tigers, which is one of the best teams in college football history. So let's bring this up. Give me a second here. Let me know if you can hear it. It's going to come up in a second.
Let's go back in time a little bit.
Can you hear that?
SEC guys on here. They've never admitted it, but we all know that SEC was NIL before NIL.
Hey,
I love that laugh.
Look at it.
We're way past it. Can we now just admit it?
It's all good. Hey, you know what? I say, hey, coach, you've been out of coaching for a while, and how are you going to adjust that NIL? I said, well, it's a minor adjustment. And they said, what do you mean? I said, back then, we used to walk through the back door to cash. Now we just got to walk through the front door to cash.
So that's Ed Orgeron speaking on it on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Now, I know I'm just a hater who hates on the SEC, and I'm jealous because Notre Dame ain't nothing and all that. This is a former SEC assistant, a former SEC head coach, a national champion in the Southeastern Conference, telling the truth. So, I mean, what are you going to say now? Because I know there's some people who still going to have some BS to say. So I've been saying it for years. I talked about the academics. And if you want to get into the academics piece, we know that Vanderbilt is the only school in the SEC with comparable academic standards to the University of Notre Dame. The only one. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. You can go and look up entrance ACT and SET scores at the SEC schools versus Notre Dame's. You can look at average entrance GPA at the SEC schools versus Notre Dame's. Do you think that doesn't play a role in the type of players that you can get at your program? Do you really believe that? And of course, we know about the money. Okay. So like, we have to take all this into context. Now, do most people really care about that? No. And that's fine, but keep your mouth shut when you're talking greasy, because, you know, I always talk about it. If you and I, Mr. CeeLo, we both run 2 miles, right? I was in the Army. Part of the physical fitness test was a 2-mile run. But if you run your 2 miles uphill and I run my 2 miles flat, am I really faster than you if I have a better time than you?
I don't think that's up for debate.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I'm not really faster than you because you're running uphill. And so we have to take these things into account. But that's fine. You know, that's logic, and most people don't want to employ that. But now let's go ahead and listen to, we got a second part of Ryan Clark and Cam Newton. And they're still talking, and we're going to hear just a little bit more, and then we're going to come back and wrap this thing up.
I mean, let's not act like everybody in the SEC is worth playing against, and they go up your cachet if you beat them. There's some mediocrity within the SEC conference, and that's really the story right now. We used to then look at it that way. We just focused on the top-notch teams because it was about 5 or 6 of them bad boys. Now that's not the case. All of them look beatable, and that's what's going on right now with the SEC. The allure is gone. They're Power 4 conference, but the allure that they once had, that has been eviscerated, period.
2 things can be true.
I was talking about the coaches.
2 things can be true, and I think my argument is a little different than what you guys are making the point of. The depth that the SEC once had is gone. It's diminished. I get that. But what I'm also saying, the issue that has not been attacked yet is Vanderbilt is not the same Vanderbilt as we once knew Vanderbilt to be because of the ability to go in the transfer portal and when you have NIL. What I'm also saying to my argument is, why isn't the Big 10 or the Big 12 having to play competitive games as much as an SEC school? Yes, before the season, you will have 12 to potentially 15 SEC schools ranked. At the end of the year, it's only going to be 2 to potentially 3 of them that's going to make the college football playoff.
So he lied there. It's only going to be 2 or 3. We see every year Greg Sankey whining and complaining, and the committee putting in as many SEC teams as they possibly can to try and manipulate the tournament. Go ahead, Mr. CeeLo. I know you got something to say.
You know, I'm glad you stopped there, because here's the thing. As a former football coach myself, Bruce, if you play tougher competition, as Cam Newton claims, shouldn't you be able to step up to the plate when better competition comes your way?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was always taught. You know, iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
And if the SEC is that ironclad conference, when they're playing each other, beating up on each other, and you got that level of attrition that you claim you already have, why are you coming up short when it really matters outside of conference?
Great question. And I'm sure that's one that Cam Newton would not be able to answer. He would just start screaming and making his weird noises and playing with his hat. I guess that's what would happen. But let's carry on.
I don't know what he got going on with that.
I don't know either.
And they're going to have to play each other. What I'm saying is, all right, I know that the situation of depth is no longer there, but the Big Ten isn't asked to go on the road to play at Texas and then go back to play at South Carolina, then go back to play at Vanderbilt. That's a hot team. Then to go back and play at Tennessee.
By the way, didn't Michigan just play Oklahoma? He played at Oklahoma this year. Ohio State played Texas. What are we talking about?
Well, but he just brought up Tennessee. Who the heck did Tennessee beat? They were 4-4 in the conference, and they beat nobody of relevance.
Yep, and we talked about their horrible non-conference schedule. But just in case anybody forgot, you know, since I'm that guy, Tennessee in the non-conference played Syracuse, East Tennessee State, UAB, and New Mexico State. What a gauntlet!
And that was and let's add into this, Bruce. That was Syracuse Angeli style.
Yes. Well, that was post Angeli, if I'm not mistaken.
Post Angeli.
Right? Yeah, after he ripped his Achilles. Absolutely. Well, let's continue with the clip.
Then saying? You may have a Mercer. You may have New Mexico State. But then you have to come back and then you have to play a Kentucky. You got to go to Florida. Oh, you get to play a home game versus Alabama. But, man, that is a tough gauntlet. Other conferences do not have that.
Here's the thing. It doesn't, right now, we're looking at the SEC like what it used to be compared to the rest of the country.
RC, that's not what I'm
It's
saying.
no longer that. Now, because Vanderbilt competed the last 2 years, we've raised what it feels like to go play in Vanderbilt because it's not a walk in the park anymore. They also lost to Iowa like 2 weeks ago in the bowl game, right? When you look at the bowl matchups, the Big Ten is dominating. When you look at the college football playoffs, the Big Ten is dominating. I mean, last year in the championship, it was an independent and a Big Ten team, both of whom played in week 1. And so I do believe that now things have shifted to where we don't walk on the field with this big talent gap that we used to have. The disparity is closed. So now it's about execution. Now it's about closeness. Now it's about relationship. All things it didn't have to be about before. And what I love that Josh said is he compared the way SEC coaches used to hire to Cersei and Jamie Lannister. Buddy, incestuous. That's what it was. That's what it was. It wasn't about whether or not you're going to develop these guys, because we had 2 schools that did it at a higher level than anybody else. Georgia and Alabama. And that's where we rested our hats, because 1 year you'll get a Cam. 1 year you can fool around and get a Joe Burrow. They have to change, or this SEC conference will be left aside as it pertains to winning national championship.
Ryan Clark is telling a whole lot of truth here. And it's so funny that it only took his son to go and play for Notre Dame for him to realize that other people in this country play football too.
And the sad part about it is, Bruce, when you look around, Cam Newton made the comment and you lost to Iowa. Now, no disrespect to any Hawkeye fans out there, but let's keep it
right.
100.
Right. That's not supposed to happen.
They don't play offense.
No. Well, their offense was a lot better this year after they fired Brian Ferentz. But no, they're not known for that. They're known for being great on defense and having running backs and tight ends, but yeah, they don't play offense.
And that's no disrespect to knock on them, but realistically, when you look at it from, okay, I've always said that they say Notre Dame, if they join the SEC, they'd have 3 losses. Okay, let's roll with me for a minute, Bruce.
I'm with you.
What has Texas done since they joined the SEC?
They made it to the semifinal last year. There you
go. My point. What has Missouri done over the years? They represented the East when they had those 2 sections a couple of times. Texas A&M, when we all remember Johnny Football, right? And Mike Evans.
Yeah.
What did they do? They talking about those Big 12 offenses would not make it because that's all they do is play offense. They don't play no defense. Why is it that these teams are consistently relevant in this conference, yet you still got the same regular cast of characters that are at the bottom, with the exception of Ole Miss and Vanderbilt.
Right.
But you got these imports that are consistently playing at a high level.
No, that's a
Does
good
that
point.
mean that conference is so dominant?
Right. No, that's a great point, because Kentucky's not good. Arkansas is not good. Ole Miss is terrible every year. Those are good points. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. That's legit. That's a great point. So let's do this, Mr. CeeLo. Let's go ahead. This is something I like to do. I like to take a couple calls, man. I like to get some thoughts from the viewers / listeners, hear what they have to say. I just ask that you, 1, watch your profanity, 2, keep it to about 3 minutes. And let's go ahead. You see the number on the screen, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Also scrolling across the bottom. Give us a call. Let's get you guys' thoughts on this. You have heard what we had to say earlier about Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, as well as the transfer portal and those things. You're also hearing what we have to say about the SEC. Let's get it. King of the chat, how'd I know you'd be calling? What's up?
Well, of course I'm going to call. You had a show dedicated to Notre Dame. How was I not going to call?
Yes, sir.
It was awesome to see John on the show.
Yeah.
What's up, Mr. CeeLo? It's good to talk to you. I just want to give a few thoughts, man. Listen, Bruce, we talk about college football 90% of our conversation.
Yeah.
And I agree with a lot of the anti-SEC. You know, it's not even anti-SEC, it's fact. I agree with it. And I love the show because you guys are exposing them, which I agree. You'll say I'm an SEC apologist just because I don't twerk for the Big Ten.
Right.
I won't do it.
I got you.
But that portion was great. But I want to talk real quick about what Notre Dame is doing in the portal.
Sure.
I want to talk about how the media, since Notre Dame got hosed out of the playoffs, I want to talk about how the media, all they want to do is bash on us for being independent. They want to bash on us for not playing in a stupid Pop-Tarts Bowl, which benefits the ESPN machine, which contributed to screwing us in the first place. I want to talk about this nothing burger of an incident with Marcus Freeman and how the media jumped on that. The media, all the machine hates us. And everybody was going on about how Notre Dame wasn't hosting people for the portal and Notre Dame's going to screw up the portal. And it's everything, every turn, it was negative pub for Notre Dame. Well, the last 2 days, I hope was a shut up. I hope was a shut up because within 2 days, we have like a top 20 portal class, and we only have like 6 guys. So that's going to show you what we were doing was we were placing quality over quantity. You look at some of these classes in the top 10, it's like 20 guys, 25 guys. Who cares? Like you're just bringing in recycled guys that are just guys. Notre Dame went out and got dudes from Alabama, Ohio State. We're bringing in a 5-star corner from Colorado. We're bringing in a safety from Michigan. So it's like, I'm excited. What they're doing is, and I heard Mr. CeeLo say earlier, like, I agree, we don't have a lot of needs, but we do have needs. Interior defensive line and wide receiver was a need. And we're checking those boxes. And we're not just checking the boxes with guys. We're bringing in like Ohio State wanted to keep those 2 kids. Ohio State wanted to retain them. Notre Dame was able to pluck them. Marcus, with all the negative media, with everything going against us outside of South Bend, it sure seems like Marcus knows what he's doing.
Sure seems that way.
It really seems like this coach is bringing Notre Dame where it needs to be coming into next year. And we saw what C.J. Carr was able to do in his first year with a bunch of young receivers, guys like just coming in the program. Get ready. Because I'm telling you, that Porter is a dog. I remember when he was in Bergen, New Jersey. I remember when he was coming out in his recruiting cycle. That kid is a dog. He just happened to play behind Jeremiah Smith and Mbeka Mbuka.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard. It's a loaded group. So get ready for C.J. Carr. Get ready for these receivers. I'm excited to see what's come this upcoming season. And I'm sure that's my 3 minutes. And as king, I will defer the rest of my time to some other caller. Y'all stay blessed. Go Irish.
Hey, thank you, Steve, man. You too.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, CeeLo.
Good call from King of the Chat. Chief Sid Bubba, I see you, man. Call back. Anybody else who wants to call in, make sure you give us a call. Say again, man.
That was a good call, Bruce. I think he pointed out some major keys, saying that we definitely did what a lot of teams didn't do. Now, I will say that Nick Marsh, that hurt. That hurt, but I do think Porter is going to be, because we got him, for 4 years?
Yeah, he's got 4 years of eligibility.
Yeah. So with Marsh, you got 2, even though he's a little more polished. But I think just by seeing what this kid was able to do on the field, I don't think he only had 4 receptions, but what he did.
I love the size at 6'4", 210. I love the size. Like, that's what I wanted, that dominant X receiver, and I think we got that. A guy who obviously can move the chains with his size and be a big downfield threat and be a red zone threat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we got another call here. Chief Sid Bubba, what's going on, Chief? How are you?
Man, I'm doing awesome. And with the last name Bubba, I'm an SEC guy.
I know it.
But I'm going to say this. The SEC is down, but you guys better not count the SEC out.
Okay.
The reason it's down is because, like you said, the NIL and the parity kind of changed.
Mm-hmm.
So that put everybody at a level playing field.
Yeah.
But certain conferences knew how to take advantage of this, especially the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kind of noticed over the years, the Big Ten has been getting more powerful. The SEC been spreading out.
That's right.
So with that, you can see you see what's on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but what the SEC got to do is leverage its financial muscle. So you don't think the heads of the Big Ten got around and to figure out how they're going to take advantage to boost the conference up? The SEC got to do the same thing. And then they got to start selling the culture, and then they got to start selling NIL deals. And then guess what? We might have to steal some of them Notre Dame guys to come over there and port them.
Nah, ain't going to have them, Captain.
Everybody can't play.
That's true. No, but I mean, it's a better problem to have, not to be able to find minutes for everybody than to need guys to fill the minutes. So we'll take it that way. Pause.
So you have to. One of the things the SEC has to do, like any other conference, you have to adapt to the environment. And a lot of it, I do believe the SEC had a lot of cachet with Saban. You know, Nick Saban. When Nick Saban left, he knew how to get out there and be gone at that opportune time.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think those couple of factors that change, but they can get their power back. So they just have to embrace the pro model. They have to change it. They got to get some new blood in there, and then they gonna have to. They have to make adjustments.
Chief, you made a great point. You made a great point, Chief. They definitely need new blood, and that's a problem because if you notice, and I know you being an Arkansas guy, you've been seeing this. They circulate the same coaching staff around that conference because they're like, there's a specific culture here, and if you're not from down here, you can't understand it. And they're going to run Kalen DeBoer out of Alabama. Mark what I said. He's an outstanding coach, but he's going to get run out of there because he's not a quote unquote culture fit, right? Remember when Florida was looking for a coach, they could have had Chip Kelly. And this is when Chip Kelly was coming off of being hot, but they didn't want him because he wasn't a fit. He's a northern guy, and the rest. But, I think it's very interesting. And I'm not saying that the SEC will never win another title, but that unprecedented run of dominance, that thing is done. And it's beautiful. Here's the other thing you got to look at, though, Chief. For all the winning that they did and all the money that college football brought into those conferences, for whatever reason, outside of Texas and Texas A&M, none of the schools in the SEC have real money. That's why they're having trouble. No, not in comparison to the Big Ten schools, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. Do you know Indiana has the largest alumni base in the country? They've got like 800,000 alumni.
And Mark Cuban.
And Mark Cuban, of course, right?
Guess who we got? But and they gonna have to utilize it. We got the Walton family in Arkansas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, for the most part, the conference, other than the Waltons, the other biggest booster in the SEC is like some. I think the biggest booster for LSU, I heard Cowherd saying this, is a personal injury lawyer, and then they got like some rich car dealership guys. The guys from the Big Ten are like tech billionaires. That's a totally different level of money.
And they got multiple ones.
Right. So you heard what old Coach Ed Orgeron had to say. It's about the money. That's really what it boiled down to.
Facts.
Why you think Notre Dame ain't gonna join the conference? Notre Dame y'all want to keep y'all money.
That's right. Why should we share it?
Y'all ain't sharing the money.
Yeah. And real talk, Chief. Why should Notre Dame share the money when they were forced to be independent and spent more than 100 years building this brand and building up to everything that they have and they are now? Why should they share it now? Because you came around and said, wait a minute, we didn't expect y'all to do this. No, come join us and shit. No, that's okay. No, we good.
The only reason Notre Dame probably would consider, guess what it have to be?
If you got locked out of the playoff.
If it's not about Notre Dame getting more money, you don't need to do it. But that's what it it's all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a fact.
when the money changed, everything else changed.
Yeah.
Now, if the SEC if those guys have to get together in the South and work out some money deals and try to entice those guys, as far as the players get to the football. But if now you see something with Indiana, if you notice, how old are those guys at IU?
Man, they average 23 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then Miami. But if you look at Miami's size, Miami got some big balls.
Oh, yeah.
So this is pretty interesting. But
For sure.
You also, like you said, SEC gonna have to get some new blood down there, and it's gonna take time. And then they gotta figure a way. It's about that money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finance.
That's right. But as long as they keep losing, I'm okay with it because I'm sick of hearing your mouth.
No. Well, not necessarily a Notre Dame hater. One of my favorite players came out of there, Rocket Ishmael.
Oh yeah,
I was always a huge fan of his. But as far as that, I think they don't come back because, believe me, those greasy guys and all the money in college football, they're going to find some way to get back on top to get them dollars.
Facts. No doubt. Well, I appreciate the call, Chief, man. Thank you. That was a good one. Thanks so much, man.
All right, Mr. CeeLo down there in the
All right. Be easy.
All right.
All right, Chief.
All right.
Good call from Chief Sid Bubba. Anybody else that wants to call in, give your thoughts on the SEC? Oh, here we go. What up, Bruce?
Hello. First of all, I got to say this: roll motherfucking Tide, and the SEC always will be the creme de la creme of college football.
So you just saying stuff just to say it, despite the fact what we proved, huh?
They always will be the big dogs of college football. Okay, the SEC had a down year this year. Okay,
a down year.
You don't think they'll be back?
Okay.
You don't think they'll be back?
So
you don't
you
think
say-
they'll have the nail? Hold on. You don't think they have the nail money to still get the guys they want to get?
No.
Stop it, Bruce. Look at the top 10 schools in the country and see how many teams in the top 10 from the SEC that got the most money. I bet it's five. I bet it's like about 5 in the top 10.
Okay.
So don't act like SEC they still ain't got the money to pull. Alabama ain't got the money to pull. Texas A&M they got the money.
No,
like Texas
A&M
ain't
and
got the money.
A&M and Texas got the money because oil money, right?
So
I'll
Alabama
give you
ain't
that.
got the money either.
No,
Look up
Alabama
the top
don't
10
have the
schools.
money. Nick Saban was.
Crazy. Alabama's in the top 10.
Hold on. Nick Saban was literally begging before he left for donations for the NIL. Literally begging because they didn't have money to sign guys. What are you talking
in
about?
The top 10, bro, of NIL money, bro.
Then why
What are you
was
talking about?
Nick Saban begging for money before he left?
Look,
You tell me that.
You got the computer right in front of you.
No,
brother.
I'm asking you a question,
I don't
Bruce.
know,
Why
bro.
was Nick Saban begging for money if they have money?
Look at the top 10. I ain't never seen that about niggas Saban begging for money. Where is that? Send me
Well,
the
Bruce, let me ask
You already know I will.
Yo, send it
Hey,
to me. I
Bruce,
ain't never seen.
Why is it this was back in 2015? Nick Saban he asked for money earlier. What about in 2015 when he had a home with Michigan State? He canceled and played USC because he said he couldn't afford to go up there. He wanted to play in a neutral site because of money.
Look at the top 10, brother. Okay. Let's look at the top 10 NIL schools. And let me say this to you, brother, because Nick Saban could do what he wanted to do because he's Nick Saban. He's big dog Nick. And the SEC will be back stronger than ever. Before this Notre Dame, why does he keep whining about the Notre Dame fanfare? Y'all don't get your way like the little bougie little girlfriend.
Who's whining about Notre Dame? All we're doing is telling
that's
truth.
why y'all talk about Notre Dame. It's old for y'all, bro. Y'all didn't make it. Y'all keep bringing up stuff on Notre Dame. They home sitting relaxing on they got their business.
Yeah, right next to Alabama. Did you know that?
But so at least we made it though.
Kalen, Kalen DeBoer is sitting there, sitting right next to Coach Freeman watching the game. How about that?
Like we have said this 1,000 times before. You know they're not going to leave Alabama out the tournament.
And
the creme de la creme
and
of college football.
you know it was BS that they got in. You know that.
No, ain't no BS because Miami put belt to ass to y'all. That's why y'all got it. First of all, I will say this about Notre Dame. I will say this about Notre Dame. Y'all are talented and y'all are loaded. I get a soft schedule though. Y'all don't pay no tough schedule. Now let me say this.
Okay.
If y'all pay 6 or 7 ranked teams a year, yes, I'll give y'all props. like an Alabama. Every week we playing somebody that's ranked.
Okay.
I'm just am I being real? Now,
No, you're not being real. You're not.
That's like you're being real. Okay, but look at Notre Dame's schedule for 2026 is an absolute joke. It's an absolute laugher. Yes, it might go undefeated the next year. I see the hell why. Look at that goddamn opponent.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll find
I say
out.
all the time, y'all ain't nothing but the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Glitz and glam and not winning no rings.
Okay.
Okay, then you got Ryan Clark glazing Notre Dame. Of course he got to do that because
You don't have to do anything.
his son's there. His son's there, and he keeps talking about the net, and the SEC don't got it no more.
His son's in the
How
NFL.
could you say that after this one bad playoff?
One bad. This is the third.
Well, too bad.
This is the
Back to
third
back.
straight
You got-
year.
okay.
The third
Okay,
straight
listen.
year that the SEC will not even compete for a national championship.
Okay,
Furthermore,
but
not win
still,
one.
But still, bro.
And it's not just that though. They get monkey stomped in the postseason by these other conferences. What are you talking about?
What difference does it make if you get monkey
There we go.
stomped
All
or
right,
you
listen, man. We got other people trying to call in,
All right, man. Bye, man. You
All
don't
right.
have to come fuck with you.
I know you
man.
did,
Notre
man.
Dame. Bye.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Unbelievable.
That's what it is, man. Caller from Michigan, I saw you, and caller from Texas, 940. There we go. Caller from Texas, who's this?
Hey, this is Caleb, a first-time caller.
This is who?
My name is Caleb, a first-time caller.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
What's going on, guys? I've
All
been
right.
listening for the last 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
And just listening to some of these SEC guys, and it's pretty interesting, just all the people that are panicking because, the talent around the country is spreading out across the country with the NIL and transfer portal. And, the last caller mentioned that the Fighting Irish are the Dallas Cowboys of college football, and coming from a guy who's born in Dallas and is a lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan, that kind of hits close to home.
Right. I can see the analogy. I can see it. Not quite the same, but I see the analogy.
Yeah. The thing is that the SEC right now can no longer corner the market on a lot of these recruits, and so they're getting beat by a lot of the people that they ended up recruiting or they ended up transferring away after a year. So a lot of these players, they're not able to keep them long term for 3 or 4 years to develop them, because if they do well on their first year, they don't play, they can just transfer out. So the talent is just spreading out across the country, and the SEC does not know currently how to adapt to that, and we're seeing the results of it. So, the last 3 years, like they mentioned, not doing very well in the bowl season. I think they won 2 bowls this postseason, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
Because the only bowl game I actually watched one of them win was Texas versus Michigan. That's it.
Yeah.
Last 2 years, it's been a disaster for the SEC, and I'm all for it. I'm relishing it for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And on another note, Notre Dame right now, I think, has the #1 overall recruiting class.
Transfer portal class.
Right now. Yeah. I think it was a 17 transfer portal class.
Okay.
And ranked number 4 for the recruits, for raw recruits.
Yes.
I think it's #1 overall. They've been addressing all of their needs. The only thing I think that they need to do now is get that guy out of Oregon, Tylen Gray.
Yeah.
So I think he's visiting this upcoming week, and we'll see how that goes.
Yep. Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Yep.
You got anything
Notre Dame
else?
just picked up a kicker.
Sorry.
Yeah, Notre Dame just picked up a kicker, Purdue's kicker.
I saw that. That's good news.
Yeah,
Needed that.
He's got, I think, 88% or so field goal percentage. So it's a very timely pickup, and hopefully he doesn't get injured.
Right.
That's all we need, is that he can stay the entire year,
For sure, for sure.
That's about all I had to talk about. So
yeah, I appreciate the call, man.
Listening in.
Yeah,
Thank
make sure you
very
like
much.
and subscribe. Do me a solid, man. What's your name again? How do I spell that? I want to save it.
My name's Caleb. I'm from Texas.
Oh, Caleb. All right, cool. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling, Caleb.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good one.
Good one, buddy.
You know what I love about doing this show and taking calls, honestly, and a caller from Michigan, I saw you. Go ahead, call back. A lot of times you get for the most part really intelligent callers, and that's cool. And it gives you the opportunity you interact with people from all different parts of the country, and that's the cool thing about doing this content creation thing. You really get that opportunity. Like if you did local radio, you would for the most part just get local callers, but here you get really with YouTube. Like I've done other shows, not necessarily college football or whatever. Had calls from Australia. I had a call from Nigeria a few weeks back, call from Ireland. So it's really cool that, you get to do this. Caller from Michigan, area code 236. I saw you, couldn't get to you, but please give us a call back. We want to hear from you. And of course, anybody else who wants to call in and share your thoughts on anything that we've talked about tonight, anything that we missed as well.
Bruce, what's interesting?
What's up, Mr. CeeLo?
What's interesting is the more I engage with the Notre Dame fan base, even on my show, is how knowledgeable they are and realistic they are about this team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a foregone conclusion that we were not gonna compete for a national championship this year or next year. I don't think it was just something we were reaching for the stars for.
Mm-hmm.
I think we ultimately had a team. I don't think the Notre Dame fan base was unrealistic in their aspirations this year. I mean, look, I live here in Georgia. And
I live in Florida.
Every year since 2000, it's been this year with Georgia.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's take a call. Looks like somebody's calling from South Bend. Who's calling from South Bend? What's this?
Lacio.
Who's this? Lacio, how you doing?
I'm good. Y'all still alive?
Yeah, we doing good, man.
I just wanted to talk about, they were talking about the SEC dominance.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to talk move the Big 12 teams out the SEC. The Texas, the Oklahoma, even down to Missouri. And how strong is the SEC when you do that?
Yikes! That's two of their playoff teams, right? No, that's very interesting.
A&M take all them.
Mm-hmm. I would give them A&M because A&M's been there for a while now. But you make a great point, Lacio.
That's the things that he's saying. SEC is so strong though.
Mm-hmm.
Them teams came from another conference.
Right.
So the Big Ten matches what y'all did, bringing in the SEC team.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point.
So, who's the strongest conference now?
Yeah, no, I like it. Man.
If Indiana wins, Big Ten has won like 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Looking like the SEC of old.
right. And you know what?
Yeah, SEC of old wasn't winning shit.
But look,
you know what I mean?
If we're honest about it though, and let's be fair here. Yes, the SEC was dominant, and I think Mr. CeeLo mentioned this earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it more impressive to go through and win 4 games to win a championship versus getting voted in and winning 1, maybe 2? Can we take that into account as well? All those great SEC teams that were winning, if they had to go through a 12-team playoff, would it be the same? We don't know.
Why was they winning?
Say again?
They would be a favorite. Why would they winning? They would be a favorite. You don't think Notre Dame could be in one of these playoff spots right now?
Yeah, I think so. That team, this was the best Notre Dame team that I can say I've probably seen. I started watching Notre Dame in '93. This is the best team I've seen since then.
In my life.
Mm-hmm.
They got exiled.
Yeah, they had it all.
And they reload.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They everybody talking about they reload. Like they knock us out again if you want to. We're gonna reload again.
Right. Absolutely.
So I don't know. Y'all can make a story about it. I just want to get my view off.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for calling. I really appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe on the way out, brother.
All right, yeah, love.
Love it, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Irish.
Go Irish. All right. Thanks for the call from South Bend. Gotta love that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Caller from Michigan. I'm sorry I missed you, man. Hopefully you can call back before we log off here. I saw you. You might have had to go somewhere, so apologize if we missed you. But we'll take one or two more calls, and then we will get out of here for the night. We'll go ahead and wrap this. But man, Mr. CeeLo, this has been a very entertaining show. You know me, I always have fun dropping facts and destroying false narratives.
You know, Bruce,
that.
what's funny is I
up,
think when you talk about the strength or the weakness of Notre Dame's schedule, I think the issue with a lot of people is they don't understand that we play coast to coast, border to border, and we've gone overseas and drawn sellouts. I don't think anybody that's a non-Notre Dame fan takes that into account.
Oh, they do. You want to know why? You want to know how I know that? USC takes that into account because that's one of they were complaining about how much travel they have to do. And that's one of the reasons that they wanted to get out of the Notre Dame series. Oh, yeah, they do. They know what it is. They just want to fake jacks like they don't.
Well, they want to get out of the series because they, much like if you recall, when USC was dominating us in the 2000s, we didn't back out.
No.
They realized that they are a long way away from getting to where they can even get to a point of even thinking that they can win a game or even being favored in a game.
Right. No doubt. Caller from Indiana. Who's this?
John Dillon. How are you guys?
Doing all right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, first time calling.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Seen you guys online. So,
all right.
Hey, two things. Can you please shut down these IU clowns? I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, they run the state of Indiana. Unbelievable.
So,
I've got two daughters at IU.
Wow. Okay. Well, here's the deal, John. I totally get where you're coming from. However, they've been in a lot of pain for a very long time. This was the losingest program in, FBS history until this year. Now it's Northwestern. And now, they're up and they will likely finish it out with a national championship and one of the most impressive seasons we've ever seen. So I say at this point, they got a right to talk, man. I
be a little bit more humble about it, right?
I hear you, but they got a right to talk because not only have they haven't been scraping by people, they've been destroying people. What was the only close game? Ohio State, right?
That's about it.
What, 2 years? 1 year? I mean, hey, talk to me in 5 years. If they're still doing this, great.
Right.
But it's ridiculous. I'm tired of hearing it. But
the
the other thing I've got to ask you guys is how does the collective money work? Because I thought there was a cap of like 25 million.
So
are there side NIL deals going on?
So what you're thinking about when you're thinking about the money with the cap, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. CeeLo, what you're thinking about is the money that the NCAA has dictated can now be paid directly from schools to student athletes. And that's a $20 million cap, which really sucks because that's $20 million across all sports, right? So that's really not that much money. When you think about, you have 80, 90 players on the football team alone, and we know that football is the main driver of revenue in all these schools, right? If they don't have football, then the next one is going to be basketball. So to try and spread 20 million out among all that, that's just crazy. So there's that. And then the NIL collective, that's something else that's separate. So that's like if, I go to school at Notre Dame and you got Mr. CeeLo's Mercedes of South Bend, he can say, hey, Bruce, you're a star running back. You can tell I'm old, right? I love the running back position. But, he's you're the star running back at Notre Dame. I would love to, sign you to an NIL deal, pushing my Mercedes. I'm going to put your face on the billboard. You'll come do some signings and whatnot, and we'll pay you for that, right? So that's two different things. So one is the school paying money directly to the players. The other is endorsement deals, basically.
Okay, so they're setting up some side deals when those kids jump on campus.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah, you can look at it that way.
Or jump and give special privileges like back in the days.
Yo.
Yeah, so it's just now legal.
That's right.
If you will.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, appreciate it. I'll tune in again.
Appreciate the call, John. Like and
Have
subscribe.
good news.
You too. Oh, caller from Michigan. I just missed you. Go ahead, call us back. Sorry, I missed you. That was area code 269. Call us right back.
Bruce, the SEC gonna get mad at us talking like that.
Hey, look, man, we got to tell the truth, though, right? Ryan Clark can tell the truth. Why can't we?
That's right.
Cam Newton doesn't want to hear it, but Ryan Clark knows it. Paul Feinbaum knows it. Coaches in the SEC know it. They just can't publicly say it. But
Well,
Ryan Clark,
it's interesting. You know, that was a point I wanted to bring up about the recycling of coaches in the Southeastern Conference.
Sure.
Have you been did you follow the whole process of how LSU was going through hiring their coach before they settled on Lane Kiffin?
No, I didn't.
You know, talking about the governor and all of this was involved with the process.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I saw that.
you know, I mean,
Like
when
the
you
governor of Louisiana, one of the poorest states in this country, doesn't have more important things to be concerned with.
I said the same thing.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take this. Caller from Massachusetts. Who's this?
I'm sorry. The numbers are math. I'm actually in Myrtle Beach.
Okay. What's going on? Caller from Myrtle Beach. What you got, man?
I'm watching the show and I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What's your name?
John Haley.
Appreciate it, John.
My brother, David, played on the 66 national championship team at Notre Dame.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
He was a halfback. It's funny. But I was just a kid. He was 11 years old. But the first time I went out there was 1966, and that's when I probably haven't missed a game, if not only for work, since then.
Wow. Okay.
And I love college football. I can watch it all day.
Absolutely.
I'd rather watch college football than pro football. My point being, everything's changed.
Yeah.
In, say, the last few years with the NIL, the portal, all that stuff. I honestly long to the old days. I do love the playoffs. And I have a buddy of mine he's a big Indiana fan. One thing, and everybody's talking about the SEC, and this and that, and how they've always talked about it. I just things have kind of equaled out.
Yeah.
And for one reason or another, I won't get into the politics and all that stuff. I'm sure it's been brought up. And I think it's great for college football. And I think, but the one thing I have about Indiana is they weren't much, a few years ago. Now here they are in 2 years.
Right.
Basically because of the transfer portal. How much is that? How significant is that? And I feel like they're buying a team.
Oh, it's gigantic, but you can do that now and it's legal, so I got no issue with it.
I understand that, but do you think that it's? Yeah, I think there needs to be the NCAA. I don't know, the NCAA. I know it's kind of lost its power or whatever, not power, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just, I feel like
you think they've lost their grip on it?
They need to be drawn back a little. Like there needs to be
I get what you're saying. Some
do
guardrails.
you have to like pro teams? Do you have to put like a cap on things? Do you have to put like
guidelines?
Yeah.
I just feel like I just feel like things are maybe in some regards are better, but they're also getting out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the SEC, listen, I love college football. I grew up Oklahoma, Nebraska days, Alabama, Auburn, all those games. You know, Notre Dame, Southern Cal, we don't even go about Southern Cal right now. But I just love college football, and I think Notre Dame, I think Marcus Freeman has got a really good thing going on here with the recruits, and they take the portal, and they only fill in what they need. And I think I just think there needs to be a little pullback, a little with the NIL and transfer portal. I think there needs to be like a cap or something.
Okay.
Because, hey, listen, what 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-old, 21, whatever, needs to get a $1.5 million before they even graduate? What have they done?
They have made tons and tons of money for the organization they played for. But listen, John, I appreciate the call, man. I got another one coming in. I got to take this.
All right. But you don't understand what I'm saying.
I got you. Thanks so much for calling, John. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Like and subscribe.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You know what? Let me try to call him back. It's the caller from Michigan we missed. Let's see if we get him back.
The number you dialed has been.
Okay, so we didn't get him. All right, well, maybe he'll call back. Caller from Michigan, man. We see you. I was trying to get to you. I apologize. But listen, John, I do hear what you're saying, right? But I got to disagree. These athletes have made so much money for these schools for all these years. And it's, you know, it's not a problem that they're now getting their part of it, right? I mean, that's the American dream, right? So why shouldn't they get their part of the American dream? They've earned it. Caller from New York. Who's this?
Hey, what's going on? It's Liam. How are you guys?
Hey, Liam. How are you, man? I see you on John's show all the time.
How are you, Bruce? I
Doing
love
well,
whenever
thank
you
you.
make appearances.
Thank you, man.
Your show is really cool.
Thank you.
How are you guys? I just wanted to talk about how it seemed like a lot of Notre Dame fans were worried that we were not going to have a successful portal run, but it looks like things are going to work out for the best.
Yeah, it appears that way. You know, John is very worrisome. That's kind of his personality, and I respect that. In these situations, I try to tend to be a little more patient, and I love what we've seen and how it's panned out. And, you know, I'm not going to say I did have some concern about what I perceived as a talent drop off going into next season, because my biggest thing was you just can't replicate losing a Malachi Fields and losing that, you know, the upper crust of that running back room, which, you know, we know how great Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love are. And not only that, Jadarian Price in the return game, I thought was super dangerous too. These are things that you can't immediately replace or replicate, but seeing how presumably explosive the passing game will be, it has definitely cheered me up a lot. And now seeing that we have bolstered that defensive line, we got the DBs, we are quickly turning into DBU, and a lot of that is thanks to Mike Mickens. So I'm very impressed with how it's looking. You know, yeah, that's where I am on that.
Yeah, guys, Mickens might be my favorite straight up assistant coach on Notre Dame overall. I think he's done a crazy job of giving Notre Dame a facelift regarding DBs and safeties over the past 4 years, really ever since Benjamin Morrison, would you say? He's kind of revamped our image. Made us almost a destination spot for 4- and 5-star DBs to go to.
Yeah, corners and safeties, absolutely. It's beautiful, because if you remember, you know, in the past, that I don't know about you, for me, that was always a scary spot, because we would get smoked by teams that had elite wide receivers because most of our DBs just couldn't handle the task, right? But now we're getting the corners, we're getting the safeties. I mean, and we're seeing these guys not only just play well in college, but go on to the league and play well, you know? So, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think he's done a fantastic job. And I think that one thing I need to try and do as a fan, because that's really all I am as a fan. I want to be an expert. I want this to be my fantasy team. And sometimes I treat it as such, which is totally inappropriate, right? But I need to trust that these guys who are getting paid big money are going to come through for us just like they have for the past 3 or 4 years. And I think you mentioned it before. I think they've done a really nice job of beefing up the D-line, bringing back Mookum, bringing in the gentleman from Pittsburgh, and then of course Keon Keeley is a big get as well. You know, you brought up a good point with losing Price. I forgot, right? He kind of plays 2 positions, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I believe, and to your point, wasn't Zinter the reserve linebacker, the leading tackler, I think, on punt return? Yeah, so I think that might be something that kind of further fuels your point. I know he didn't see the field as much as a rotational player, but he was a starter on special teams.
That's a big one. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's big.
And really, if you think about it, over the past 2 or 3 years, we really haven't been gashed much on punt or kickoff return.
No. Really good special teams play lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liam,
so
hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Liam. Caller from Michigan, stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, stay with me. I'm gonna put you on hold. Okay. All right. Liam, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No problem. I think that those were all the points that I wanted to make for tonight. But I think that, you know, the 2 Ohio State wide receiver transfer pickups are interesting. Obviously, not a ton of production, but maybe a ton or a very high ceiling for both these young gentlemen. And I think you guys may have mentioned this before, so forgive me if I am redundant. But a lot of the guys we brought in aren't just 1-year mercenaries; they've got multiple years that they could be with Notre Dame.
I noticed that.
I found that to be interesting.
Yes, I noticed that, and that's good. I like the look of that, especially if they turn out. And the last thing I'll say before I let you go, when you mentioned the D-line, something I'm really hoping to see Bryce Young become that guy. I really want to see him become that guy, and hopefully getting these, you know, beefy interior guys will help that to happen. So that's my thought.
I mean, I saw that guy by accident when I was on campus for the NC State game. The guy looked like a mannequin for an Under Armour statue.
Right,
like if there's the definition of looking the part, he's it. So I hope that translates this year as well, just like you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you so much for taking my call, guys. I can't wait to see your show grow.
Hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call.
No problem. I'm going to tune in as soon as I hang up. Thank you.
All right, brother.
He's right about Bryce Young, though.
Yeah, he's a beast. I know he was different when, you know, he kept getting the roughing the kicker penalties against Georgia. You know? I'm like, yo, this guy is a freak.
Or how about the near interception in the Pitt game?
Oh, man, absolutely. I can't believe he dropped that.
It was just right. It was too easy.
Too easy, yeah. Caller from Michigan, we'll give you one more try, man. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get to you, but, you know, trying to take all the calls. Area code 269. I see you, caller from Michigan. But yeah, this has been good, man. Got an opportunity to talk to some new people, some voices I don't normally get to talk to on my show. Had a lot of people in here. Anybody who's left in here, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. And just, you know, on another note, we don't just talk college football or just Notre Dame here. We do it all. You know, I talk NBA, I talk NFL, I talk boxing. You will see this summer, I'll probably get some episodes in on the World Cup. I'll find a soccer expert to talk to and have on and break that stuff down. You know, so we love sports here, man. We love sports. The Format Podcast, as you can see, you know, from the logo on the top. My guy Transformer, he doesn't usually do my college football shows with me, but, you know, we love sports, as you can see. This is what we do. All right, well, I guess we are going to leave it right there. Mr. CeeLo, man, before we get out of here, please tell the people where they can find you. I want to make sure that they get on Talk Like a Champion, because we need that to grow as well.
Awesome. It's a pleasure being here. You can find me on YouTube. You can find our page on Facebook, and you can contact me personally on Instagram at Mr. CeeLo, and I try to get online at least 2 or 3 times a week if I see a major headline. Bruce caught me when I started talking about this SEC bias a couple of months ago, but anything that you catch cracking, I'm actually doing a show right now on this whole Marcus Freeman incident that went down, which I thought he handled it like a true professional. You get in my kid's face, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Facts. So, Mr. CeeLo, thank you so much for joining me tonight, man. I started out a little rough, but once we got it rolling.
Thank you so much for being patient with me, Bruce.
Yeah, man. I'm glad. I'm very glad that you were here, and I'm glad that you got to, share the screen with me tonight. And everybody who's here, thank you all so much for joining in. And here's the deal. If you're on a show like this, I know you have other people in your life that you talk sports with. So please share the show with them. Share the Format Podcast. Share Always Irish. Share Talk Like a Champion. Please share the show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate y'all. And we out. Peace.